Hello, everyone. This is Josh Matthews Morgan, and we're here live with our expert interview series. And I've got a really cool expert today to talk about sales and how to do that in a non-pushy way. So I'm very excited about this. So let me tell you a little bit more before I bring Erika in about this expert interview series and why we're doing it. You see, our core area of expertise is really everything related to mindset and shifting limiting beliefs and creating really fast transformations inside of people. But we know that our audience also needs more than just that kind of help in order to grow their businesses. They need, in particular, help on the marketing and the sales side of things to grow their business. And that's why we're partnering with awesome experts like Erika to bring you insights, practical tips, and just different things you can do to grow your business. So that's basically it. A quick thing about if you're watching this live or if you're watching the replay, if you wouldn't mind just throwing down like a hashtag live in the comments if you're watching the live, and if you're watching the replay, just throw down hashtag replay in the comments. That just lets us know who's here. We can say hey to you, and it also gets this video out to more and more people so they can see it and so they can see Erika's awesome interview. So. And if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the comments. I will see your questions more than likely. And if we have time at the end, we'll get to any questions that you ask and do a quick Q&A. But if we don't have time, Erika and I will make sure that we answer your questions, in the chat. So cool. So without further ado, let me bring in our guest expert, Erika Vassell.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm super excited to be here with you today.
I'm very excited to have you too. Erika and I, we go way back. No, we don't, but we connected a while ago and discovered we may be possibly related, but probably not. Like basically, did we ever figure that out?
Things in common, right? Like last name, Argentina. I mean, it's a lot.
Right. There's a lot of stuff that says we may be related, but we're just haven't dug into the genealogical tree too much to figure that out. So anyways, so Erika is the queen of non-pushy sales. And she's going to talk today about basically how to do sales in a way that's feels good, right? And authentic and non-pushy. So I guess before we dive into like the deep, hard-hitting stuff, do you want to tell them a little bit about your background and like what led you to become the queen of non-pushy sales?
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so I have over 30 years of sales and business experience. I know, I look so young, right?
Started when I was 4. Yeah.
So I've loved everything about the sales process. Okay. But I only love it if it's in a non-pushy manner. So basically let me just go through my experience. So I've sold cars, I've sold dreams like weight loss. I've had a nail and tanning salon. I've been in direct sales. And I've noticed that, the word sales gets a bad rap, right? Mm-hmm. So I created a system so that it's basically having the person tell me what they want, and all I do is solve it, like Vanilla Ice. If you have a problem, I'll solve it, right?
Yeah.
So I found that I was uncomfortable bringing up money because I grew up poor. And it was very hard for me to talk about something that was like $60,000 or whatever. And I found if I just asked them questions and they told me answers, it was so easy for me. So what I've done is I've brought that to the world, and it's called the blessing method. And we'll talk about that later. But basically it's about me and feeling less than my whole entire life and having to kind of overcome that so that I could serve others, growing up poor, a single mom. I mean, it was a crazy situation. And, I realized that we bring a lot of that, to the table in the sales process. And I had to realize it wasn't about me. If I could just take it off of me and serve others, I could be successful. And so that's what I do is I show you how you can take it off of you and just simply serve others.
I love that because so many people get self-conscious about the selling process. Mm-hmm. And if you're self-conscious, it means you're not focused on your prospect, right? It means that you're more worried about how you're coming across to them or, your own internal dialogue stuff. That's what trips a lot of people up. So yeah, I mean, even that's just a simple little even hack. They're just like try to shift your mindset to focus on their needs, not yours,
Yes.
So already we're getting started with the good stuff. So, well, let me ask you this. This might be kind of a random question, but what would you say is like your zone of genius? Like something that you just have either developed over time to be really good at, or you're just innately good at?
So I would say, systems, being systematic. Okay. But if we want to really narrow that down, I'm also the queen of surveys. So in my sales process, I get the people to tell me what they want through a survey.
Okay.
And it's psychological, and marketing, and it's psychology and marketing. And it's basically you ask very strategic questions so that they tell you exactly what they want. Now you can't just say like, yo, what's your name? What do you want to buy? Right? You have to take them on a fast journey so that they're excited to talk to you and purchase at the end of a 2-minute survey. So
that makes sense. That makes sense. Interesting. So do you use that? I mean, I know you can use surveys in a ton of different applications, but do you use that like for primarily like as a sales tool, like to get the information before you even get on a call with them, or like a pre-qualifying tool, which I know we'll talk about that some more. Or is it also like marketing? Because, some people use surveys for like marketing ideas and coming up with the buckets of topics they need to talk about, that kind of thing. How do you use it?
Yeah, mine is pre-qualifying. So I never talk to anyone unless they're pre-qualified. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste their time, because then you're pushy, right? Because if you're trying to talk to them about something they don't want. So I pre-qualify everyone with a survey. So I use it for that. And then they tell me what they want. So then guess what? I know what to do in my marketing.
Absolutely. It serves both purposes.
Yes. And then I use it for feedback. So after an event or after a chit chat, if they didn't purchase now, okay, well, let's find out what questions they had. But see, I didn't want to ask. So let me just let the survey ask them.
Interesting. That's pretty cool. I like that. Yeah. And it's kind of sneaky too, because it's like there's no pressure. They get to answer with like their true words and that kind of thing. And what resonates with them most. And then you can weave that into your sales process, I'm assuming, right?
Of course. So basically I only talk about what they said they wanted. Okay. So if in that survey, they said they wanted to learn about water, right?
Yeah.
I won't talk about a protein shake.
Right. Makes
So
sense.
it's only about them. But what's very interesting about it, because I've used these surveys, paper form, text form. Now I use Jot form. It's a free, website. Anyone can use that. But what I found is that when I ask the same exact question, I don't get the full truth, right? But when you ask it in the survey, they feel free. They know it's coming to me. So it's not like I'm being shady, but they just feel, I don't know, they just feel like they can be more open, and it's beneficial to them, because then I can serve them, right? Right.
Absolutely. It's a win-win for everyone. I love that. I love that approach, because, people do the pre-qualification, the application forms that people have. A lot of people fill out. So this sounds different than that. It sounds more like a more in-depth, you said it takes about 2 minutes to fill out. Is that right?
2 to 3 minutes. So the application forms that you'll see, like before someone books for Calendly or something, right? They'll say like, what is your budget?
Right.
Well, I don't know. What are you going to tell me, right? I'm not going to tell you my budget. I don't know what you want.
Right. Yeah. It could be nothing, and it could be $30,000. Who knows? Right. Yeah.
And of course, it might change based on what they're going to tell me. So mine are about like problem solving. So basically, if you think of it this way, every question on that survey, the answer should be your product or service. So you wouldn't ask them something that didn't pertain to what you're going to sell them.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Now you know the insider secrets.
That's awesome. No, it's a great method, and it creates a custom, like you can create a custom roadmap for them, especially if you're selling something like coaching or training, where instead of just saying, well, here's my thing, here's my pillars, here's my whatever it is, it's like feels very personalized and customized to the prospects, and which makes them value it more, which makes them more likely to sign up. So it's really smart. I love that. We should probably do that in our business.
I will help you create an awesome survey. Yes. And the thing about it is the blessing method is all about what's in it for them. So the survey is all about what's in it for them, not I've got this to sell you. I want to know, would it be a good fit for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. What's in it for them. I love that, because like sales is really about figuring that out. It's really about figuring out I always say, like, most people are like, here's why you should buy my offer. and that's how they sell, right? But selling is about figuring out why should they, like, from my perspective, why would they even want this thing? Like, so it kind of flips it on its head a little bit. I love that.
Exactly. Problem solving.
Problem solving. Absolutely. Well, cool. Tell us, you kind of hinted at it a couple times, but tell us a little bit more about like the blessing method and kind of what that is and how it works.
Okay. So as I said, I grew up poor, right? And I always felt less than. So imagine living in a place like Beverly Hills, okay? But living in a basement, okay? With like the only single mom in the whole area. Okay. So I always felt like I just didn't belong anywhere. And what I noticed is that in the sales process, a lot of times entrepreneurs or coaches or sales professionals, they actually trigger these things in their prospect. They make their prospect feel less than. And I didn't want anyone to feel like I've always felt. So that's the blessing method. It's about making people in your space feel important. It's only about them. And so the blessing method is about attracting pre-qualified leads to you. Well, essentially they pre-qualified themselves in the survey, right? So then you have a chit chat with them, or you show them a video or presentation based on what they said they wanted. You get referrals, always a minimum of 5. Okay. And yeah. And then if you're team building, of course, you would team build. And then you do automation for client retention. But in that process, you must follow up. So I have a systematic approach to how many times. But what I found is that people say, oh, they know where to find me if they want this product. I don't want to bother them. And that is what makes people feel less than. So like a couple months ago, I went to buy furniture. Okay. I spent 5 hours with this man. He has my contact information. I was supposed to come the next day. We were going to finalize the deal. Well, I came home and told my husband, I found the furniture, but it won't really fit. And he's like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't go. I couldn't find the man's business card. Well, surely he'll call me and say, where are you? Okay, it's been like 9 months. He has not called me.
So he's just waiting for that follow-up for the 1 year mark.
I need to call. But what happened in my noggin? Oh, I'm less than. He thinks I can't afford it. He didn't like me. Like all of that. And do we really want our clients to feel that way when they think of us?
That's so interesting. It's such a switch, a frame switch, right? Because like most people are very uncomfortable with follow-up and consistency in that. They might do it like once or something like that, but it's like what you're saying is it's got to be consistent, right?
Oh yes. It's a whole process of how many times, and then you take a break and then you come back. And I have a whole system of, if you invited for them to this, don't do this, like it's very, it's a process, but it's very easy. It's like a recipe, it's not complicated. Honestly, it's almost like common sense. Like, let's treat them well, right? Like,
right. Absolutely. Yeah. And that totally makes, just act like a normal human being would, who isn't trying to sell something like, but follow up, because I think a lot of people make the assumption that if they don't get back to me, for example, that means they like go into the less than stuff in their own head. Right. And they're like, well, they don't like me, or they don't like my product or service, or I don't want to come across as pushy, or all this stuff that keeps you just from saying, hey, how are you? Or like, hey, like whatever your follow-up system. Right. But you see that a lot too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And that's why the survey is so important. So think about this way. If somebody takes the time to fill out your survey, clearly they're interested. If they don't want to fill out the survey, they're not your peeps. Move on.
That's true. That's
in the survey, it's like I told you, it's very strategic. They say what they want. So how easy is it to be like, oh, let me text them. Okay. Hey, Josh, I'm sorry I wasn't able to reach you. I know you said you were interested in X, Y, Z. See, you just bring it back to what they said. They told you they wanted. It takes that pressure off of, feeling inadequate. If it takes the pressure off of having to know everything, you just talk about what they said, and it's easy. And of course they might not answer the first time. They might not answer a second time, but eventually they are, because they said they wanted help with whatever. Do you see what I mean?
So interesting. Absolutely. Yeah. And it also keeps you from having to remember all that stuff in your head too, from the sales call, like take copious. I take a lot of notes during like strategy sessions too. I don't know how you are on that thing, but just to like understand what their challenges are, of course. And, they're because it's different for every person, and the way they word it is different for every person. So, but if you have it already done in that pre-qualification, or at least the high level stuff, that's pretty cool.
It is. And
Love
then
that.
you just have your chit chat and you just solve the problem that they said they had.
Right.
And it's so easy. And it helps people who are just getting started, because some people don't start because they think they don't have all the answers. But guess what? For that person, you only need to know that one thing, right?
Right. Interesting. Yeah. That totally makes sense. I mean, that's whole thing about being just a few steps ahead of your, at least in the coaching world, that's what they say, be a few steps ahead of your prospects. And obviously, ideally, you'd like to be more than that, but you can help someone if you're only a few steps ahead of them.
Yeah, they say if you know one more thing than the other person, right, you're an expert in that thing, right?
Right. You're more of an expert than they are. That's for sure. I love that. Okay, cool. So interesting. So I've never thought about this. I have to be honest. I've never thought of that. Not following up would cause a less than reaction inside of the prospect's mind. I've never really considered that before. And that's one of the things that was really interesting about what you said, like in the kind of what we chatted about beforehand.
Yeah, I believe that when you don't follow up, it's actually rude. Because not that I'm not calling you rude. I'm just saying.
Sure. No, I get it. Yeah.
Like in business, if that person, for example, filled out a survey for you and now you're not going to follow up, man, they took even if it was 2 minutes, they took the time for you. So why can't you just check back in, right? Yeah. So if you just focus on, I'm just going to serve them. I'm just going to be a professional problem solver. And then you don't have to worry about feeling awkward at all.
I love that. It's awesome.
I'm going to make you so much money, Josh.
I know, right? I'm going to start implementing all this stuff like immediately. That's great.
Good.
I do need to talk to you about that form, the survey thing. Yeah. Figure out how to wear all that. That's awesome.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit more about attracting the right people and in the pre-qualification process, because I think they go a little bit hand in hand, because that is definitely something I see a lot of newbie business owners in particular making, that's a difficult thing for them. They don't know let me start. They don't have a specific avatar in the first place. Right. How do you feel about that in terms of finding the people online and attracting people online? You want to just talk about that first, maybe?
Sure. So I guess if you were, first of all, if you have a business, you have a product or a service to sell, right?
Right.
So you must know the benefit of your product or service. Okay. Right. So I do have a sales school opening up and I teach people this because a lot of people don't know, right? If they don't know their avatar, well, then there's a problem because they don't know the benefits of their product or service, right? So we have to start with the end in mind. So if we figure out that, let's say I always use water. Okay. So the water is what we want to sell the person. So who would drink this magic water? Okay. So this one's for energy, right? This one is, going to make you grow taller, whatever. Okay.
I need that.
I need this too. Well, it makes me skinny. Maybe it makes you skinny and taller, whatever. But that's the benefit of it, right? So then you would create your survey with people and find out who wants to be taller, thinner, or whatever, and have more energy. Then you're going to get people to take your survey. Okay. Then that's going to weed out the people. So if they don't want to take it, well, first of all, those aren't your people, right? Right. That's easy.
That's clear. They're not taking even that little 2 minutes to fill it out. It's come on,
So then the people who do take it, well, remember the answer to all the questions is your product or service, right? So now you're going to see who you are going to talk to. I mean, it's very rare someone will be not interested, because why did you take the survey? So I'd say 1 in 3,000 might say that. It's so rare.
Right. And they're clearly not a good fit.
Right. Exactly. But, so knowing what the benefits of your product are. So I think where entrepreneurs in the early stages, or maybe even farther on, they get hung up on is that they go straight to their family and their friends. Well, that doesn't mean they're their ideal client. So what if your family's 20 feet tall, has so much energy and doesn't want to lose weight?
Right. They don't need that water. Right. Exactly. Not everyone needs what you have. And that's what a lot of people, we actually struggle with that because our stuff is mindset. So it's everyone can benefit, we can work with everyone. And that was kind of how we were in the initial stages. While that's true, it's not a good business growth. It's really difficult to market and sell to everyone. It just really is.
Well, they have to be open to And they have to realize there might be something they need to shift, right? Because if they think they're all that in a bag of chips,
right.
You're not gonna. It's not gonna benefit them.
Right,
So
right.
knowing what it is that you do, what the problem is you solve, and then finding the people who have that problem.
Right.
Is really it. So basically, I teach about having the survey, and then you ask people to fill out your survey, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Now, you do have to do some back work. So like if you're online, like, changing your profile, show up as a professional. Don't put, like I said, unless you're a vet, there shouldn't be puppy dogs and all this stuff. Like that.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, the things on people's profiles who use it for business purposes primarily, it's just like, that's a weird thing to put on there. Yeah.
Yes. So doing some back end work, right? And then, pre-qualifying and then just solving the problem and realizing that you need to be in front of the people who want your product or service. The only way to find that out is to ask strategic questions.
Yeah. So one thing I want to circle back on, because I thought it was interesting, is you said that you don't speak to anyone who is not pre-qualified and who you think you can help, right?
Correct.
Would you give that advice to anyone at any stage of business? Because I think that's pretty smart advice, really. I mean, I've definitely gotten on some calls with people who are clearly not a fit for what we do, and just kind of like, what was the point of that? It kind of wasted everyone's time. So.
Right. Yes. So I have several businesses. For all of them, I will not talk to somebody unless they pre-qualify themselves. Basically, they have to fill out my questions. Number one, because I need to be prepared for the call or whatever we're doing. If I need to have products in front of me, or if I need to look up allergies or research anything, I need to be prepared, right? And it's not a good use of your time or their time if they don't know what's going to happen on the call, right? So I have them fill it out, and then they schedule right then and there, or they go on to an event. But I recommend this for everybody, because let me tell you something. I'll tell you real quick. Okay. So let's say I was selling like linens. Okay. And I saw this cute bed and breakfast, and I'm like, surely they need linens, right? So go through this whole process. I get in touch with the bed and breakfast owner, and I go for this appointment, and I go in and I talk about these sheets. I've got these fabulous sheets, and we go on and on. And she's like, well, that's nice, but I just bought sheets. Right. And I'm like, oh, I have towels. And she's like, sorry, the time is up.
Right. Yeah, you're no longer relevant to me, right? Like, because it's not exactly timing, or because I just don't need your thing,
Yes. And now she thinks that I'm not professional because I didn't do my research beforehand, how I could serve her.
Love it.
Yeah. So it's very important. I would never talk to anyone. When I sold cars, when someone came on the lot, we went to my desk and we answered my questions. I'm not going to go and wander around the lot. Let's find out what you want, right?
Right. Start from there. Yeah.
Yes. Same thing. When the weight loss, we had to talk about like the program and things like that. Like, what were they looking for? Because what if it wasn't going to be a good fit? Why? It wouldn't matter. The price. And that's one thing I do want to say is sometimes people think, if I could just tell them what I have, I know that they would want it and the price is good, or I could just give them a deal.
It
doesn't matter if it's free, if it's not a good fit. Just focus on serving them.
That's so true. Even something that's like $1 for someone who just doesn't need it or want it or have that in their life, it's like, doesn't matter what the cost is.
Exactly.
So, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, cool. Well, we've touched on some really awesome stuff. Is there anything else? I know you have an event coming up, which I want to make sure we get to that, but is there anything else you want to leave as a final thought, or anything in terms of what we've discussed today, or?
I would say that sometimes people will focus on one area, like they just want to get people into their Facebook group, or they just want to do this with them. But then they forget, like, it's a journey, right? So you want to make sure that you stay in front of them. And so it is our job as entrepreneurs, coaches, sales reps to stay front of mind to people. So you do want to solve their problem, but also what are you doing on the back end? Like, are you reaching back out to them for birthdays? Are you reaching back out in the future? Don't just take their money and just ghost them.
For sure. That's so true. And that's a big issue in the industry, because a lot of people think that marketing and sales stops when you get a client, and it really doesn't. It's like the really smart business owners want to make sure that their clients are very successful with their products. Actually, I want to give an example of this with you because, you know, I bought some of the face cream, skincare, right? So I know it's just funny. This is a side note. One of the reasons I bought it was because I got into a Facebook Live and my skin was like super red, and I was like, whoa, I can't be doing this. Like, and showing I just like naturally kind of had a red complexion. But one thing that you did that was really awesome is you took the time to walk me through how to use it all and make sure. I think maybe it was even like a recording of it too, or something like that, right?
They were recording, and then we chatted, and I had to show me how you were using it.
Right, which is so good because like if someone buys from you and you want them to become a repeat customer in any way, shape, or form, or you want to get a referral from them or create a great experience, it's important to give them a great experience. Like that's so important, and that's where a lot of people fall down on. But you're really good at paying attention to those details. And even just with that was like, it's pretty awesome,
Thank you. Yeah. And we had a survey beforehand. I don't know if you remember, but
you filled out a survey. So this is so sneaky.
Sneaky. It's strategic. So we had a survey beforehand. So I knew if you had allergies or what you needed.
Right.
And then I presented you with the solution. Yes.
Yeah. Genius. This is the whole thing in process, right?
Yeah.
Clearly it works.
Yes.
And my skin's definitely less red than it was for sure. I would just have to say that. Thank you. Yeah, it's better. It's a work in progress.
There you go. But see, this proves though, right? So it helped with skin. I can do this I work with car dealerships, with cars.
Right.
Anybody, right? It's the same process. Attract, pre-qualify, present,
customize, tailor to them.
Yes. And then automation. Exactly. Yes.
Love that. I love that. Awesome. Well, this has been really cool, Erika. And I knew this would be really fun and that you'd have some insights and things that I'd never heard before, which is totally true. I've been studying marketing sales for a while, and even the way you just do the pre-qualification is just, I think, genius and something that I definitely want to implement for our business. And so yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
We'll have to chat about that. I'm have my event tonight, so
let's talk about that.
My thing for me.
So the banner,
wants to come. So I've noticed. Okay, so I've been virtual 9 years before it was so cool to do this, right? So I had it mastered. What I'm noticing is that people just show up on Facebook and they're like, buy me, and they don't understand why people aren't buying, right? So I am going to show tonight. It's a free. I hate the word webinar. It's a training. Okay. It's very casual, but I'm going to show you how to make money with online events. And there's a process to it. So I'm going to give my insider secret. So you have to register. Guess what? It's a survey. Because I need to know. You have an opportunity to ask a question in there so I can customize what I'm going to speak about tonight. But it's about showing up online and making money, of course, in a non-pushy way. But all this just showing up, blasting people with your products and stuff. It's just, that's not the way that you're going to make, comma money, right? You may make one sale.
Right. Yeah, totally. I love that. Yeah. So it's teaching people how to make money using live events.
Or any event.
Online events, you said.
Online events.
Gotcha. So Facebook events, that kind of thing.
Anything, or even Zoom or webinars or anything like that. It's going to be the same process.
Tupperware parties that are online, anything like that. Old school.
Coaching, whatever you can think, anything.
Cool. Yes. I love that. Okay. And so I think that they can see the banner there, right?
Yes, so go to nonpushysales.com and then you can register. Now, if you can't join live, you can just check off you want the replay and I'll just email it to you.
Perfect. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Great customer service. Great follow-up,
That's how I roll.
That's how you roll. Awesome. Well, cool. Well, I think we'll throw also, after this is over, let's throw the link to that in the chat on the Facebook group. So for those of them who, don't want to type it in and are lazy and just can click it,
Of course.
So cool. Well, thank you so much again, Erika. This has been wonderful and very enlightening. And Yeah, I enjoyed it. And maybe we'll have to chat again sometime soon.
Yes, yes. I want to interview you too. So I just love what you're all about as well.
Thank you.
I mean, everything is wonderful, and I can't wait. Let's work together and let's create an awesome survey and save you guys some time, right?
Sounds good to me. Yeah, I love it.
Well, thank
Awesome.
you so much. I appreciate this.
Thank you. Yeah, enjoyed it. And yeah, everyone be good. Let us know if you have any questions about any of this in the comments later on. We'll be monitoring that. So
yes, absolutely. Or friend me. This is my name, Erika Vassell. I'm looking for friends. That's my new Facebook
looking for
account.
friends. Nice. She needs new friends. Only nice people. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I only let nice people into my audience. So hopefully
okay, good. Then we're good.
Yeah, it's like my number one rule. So all right. Thanks so much again, Erika. And yeah, we'll talk soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye. See ya.